But De'Aaron Fox is back in Sacramento tonight.
Mm-hmm.
I, of course, am very excited about that. I very much enjoyed covering De'Aaron Fox's career. De'Aaron Fox was drafted right around the time that I started working in this field professionally, so I was there for De'Aaron's entire time here in Sacramento. And I'm excited to see him back. I hope we get the opportunity to chat with him a little bit. He, of course, is going to be very busy focusing on a title like I'm talking about. I think San Antonio is going to – I remember saying when the Kings traded him to San Antonio, I remember saying, like, the Spurs, it's going to be right away. Like, right away they're going to compete. And it's not the most brave of takes because of Victor freaking Wembanyama and De'Aaron Fox pairing together, but that team is 1,000% a title contender this year, and I'm excited to see them in action tonight. But I am curious what the reception is going to be. I think for the most part, it should be positive. I am never one to tell a fan how to fan. If you want to boo, if you want to say whatever you got to say, as long as it's within the realm of not being disrespectful, personal, and could get you kicked out of the arena, hey, do your thing. If you are still frustrated with how the De'Aaron Fox stuff went down, if you feel that Fox bears responsibility for the Kings trading him to San Antonio, making the wrong trade, bringing in Zach LaVine and where they're at now and all the fallout afterwards, that's fine. You can feel that way. I certainly disagree with you. I think Fox is more than in his right to do that. He was smart by bringing Rich Paul into the fold as his agent, even if I'm not the biggest fan of Rich Paul. I know the game. The game is the game. And on top of that,
he gets his clients what they want.
He
for
does.
The most part.
He does. But De'Aaron, like what people don't understand, which it's hard to explain to people, and I've tried, and stories have come out, and information has come out. Plenty has come out since the saga went down. Fox ended up making that move and going in that direction because of the actions of the organization. Fox was never a problem here by any means. He certainly disagreed with some of his teammates about directions that they were to go in and things of that nature. And Fox certainly had his flaws too, right? It was Fox that fouled Jaden Ivey, that 4-point play that lost the Kings that game against the Detroit Pistons that ultimately got Mike Brown fired. And that was a 5-game losing streak at the time. De'Aaron Fox would have times where it's like, are you going to turn it on? Like, you're De'Aaron. Like, go. He would sometimes coast at times. De'Aaron certainly had his flaws. And it's totally always fair to question whether or not the Kings could have ever won a title or made any sort of deep run with De'Aaron Fox as their number one guy. It's very clear he's number 2 in San Antonio, and it's perfect for him. It's the perfect role for him. But I am curious to see what the reception is in the Golden One Center tonight, because in my mind, De'Aaron Fox was totally justified in everything that he did. The situation was not comfortable for anybody. The Sacramento Kings ultimately made a decision. When they made the decision about Mike Brown, Fox let it be known long before that decision that if they decided to move on from Brown, they would have to move on from him as well. It wasn't a bluff. They called it. He followed through. He did what was best for him. He's going to compete for a title, and the Sacramento Kings are in dead last in the Western Conference.
Yeah.
He's vindicated.
Yeah, it's interesting. Since I've been here, and we've obviously had the conversation before when they were in the NBA Cup game, and there was interest from this market clearly because there are the Mike Brown, De'Aaron Fox storylines there that connect directly with the Kings. So I remember there was a piqued interest, at least from us over here, or some of Kings fans at least, in the NBA Cup because of that reason. They were playing each other. But I haven't heard, I think, more like not disparaging comments or mad comments about Fox than I have, anything else. Like, I haven't heard the bad side of it as much as, it's not like they're sitting here talking about De'Aaron in like the highest regards,
right?
But it's not like, oh, like, shame on him, whatever. Like, you get those comments once in a while, I think, still. But for the most part, I think people are just like, okay, it is what it is. It happened. I don't even know right now if he were still here, like, what would that make a complete difference with, again, the hodgepodge of talent that's here that's not working together? I think you're looking at other situations with Sacramento Kings players and thinking, however, why do, when all these players leave here, they go kind of settle in and find themselves somewhere else? And I think that's an interesting question to pose, too.
I mean, I wholeheartedly believe if De'Aaron Fox were still here, or more importantly, the conversation is if Scott Perry had been allowed to trade De'Aaron Fox and handle the De'Aaron Fox situation, the Sacramento Kings would be 1,000 times better off than where they're at.
Yes.
And we don't, it's the past is the past. Matt, move on. The past is the past. Blah, blah, blah. I understand that. I get that. No point in just continuing to pour salt in a wound. But there are lessons to be learned from what happened.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I'm not saying De'Aaron Fox is the perfect player. It's not like the Kings traded Giannis Antetokounmpo. Like I'm realistic here. I think Fox is a probably top 20 NBA player in the league right now. And I'm realistic
on a really
to that.
good team too, by the way.
And I think he's going to be a champion. I think the Spurs are going to win the title this year.
Yeah.
I genuinely think that.
Wow.
I do believe the Spurs.
I'm not completely
I think the
off
Spurs
with
are
you on that.
super deep. They play great defense. They've been a thorn in the side of the Oklahoma City Thunder. Now they're not the favorites by any means, but I think the Spurs will win a title this year. I think if the Spurs are the best chance to get past OKC. And if the Spurs get past OKC, they will get past whatever the East has to offer.
The amount of crash outs Kings fans would have if 40% of the Beam team lineup won a championship.
If it happens, it happens. Well, and then, of course, we all know it's going to happen primarily because of Victor Wembanyama.
That's what I was going to say.
But Fox is De'Aaron Fox has already been disrespected this season. People saying that it's Wemby, and Wemby's been the only one. People forget Wemby was out for damn near a month, and Fox put that team on his freaking back, including through the NBA Cup. Mm-hmm. De'Aaron is a damn good player. A unbelievably talented player who, when he did play in the playoffs for the Sacramento Kings, had one of the best playoff debuts in terms of scoring in history. Mm-hmm. So again, Matt, why are you bringing up old stuff? Why are you reopening this wound? Well, because I think hopefully the lesson that needs to be learned is not from fans. It's not from Scott Perry. He had nothing to do with it. Not even from Doug Christie. Mm-mm. It's from the guys up top.
Yes.
It's from ownership. It's from Vivek Ranadive. Hey, if you are a team like the Sacramento Kings and you have to trade your franchise player because of a circumstance that you created, Fox is not 100% guilt-free either. There a lot of went into what happened. Mm-hmm. A lot of it. Everybody has to look into the mirror. That's fine. But if you are a team like the Sacramento Kings, and I said this at the time, Kayla, when we knew Fox was likely going to be traded, and I was always calling for wait till the summer. Wait till the summer. Who cares about making the play-in tournament? It doesn't matter. Wait till the summer. If he wants to shut it down because he needs to get surgery on his hand or whatever because he had an injury, then do it. Let him do it. Let him sit out. Wait till the summer. Get a new general manager in here and trust them to make that decision. Because if you get this wrong, this could start a whole new playoff drought, hopefully that does not rival the one that we just got out of. Because when you're a team like the Sacramento Kings, you cannot screw up losing your franchise player or getting nothing of significance back for your franchise player. You traded De'Aaron Fox to the San Antonio Spurs, and you got nothing. Now, you got the 2031 Minnesota Timberwolves pick. Maybe it turns into something, but it doesn't feel like anything right now. Maybe they can flip it, and Scott Perry could do something with that. Okay. The 2027 San Antonio Spurs pick. It's not going to be good because the Spurs are going to be still competing for a title in 2027.
Sure.
I haven't done this for a while, but I used to be keeping track of the winding path of the De'Aaron Fox trade. I think now the Kings got Zach LaVine, 17 games of Jake LaRavia, 27 games of Jonas Valanciunas, half a season of Dario Saric, Nick Clifford, and the 2031 first-round pick. That is what the Sacramento Kings got, which there's an argument to be made that if they had literally just let De'Aaron Fox walk for nothing, they would have been in a better position than making that trade.
The lesson to be learned is this. Be patient and do not make emotional decisions around cornerstones of your franchise. You cannot do. You know who can get away with that? The Lakers, the Heat, these major markets that they'll just poof, another star will appear.
Or Nico Harrison gifts you a star.
Yes, but that's what I'm saying. Just poof, it appears in those markets. It just happens. It is the way of the world. It sucks, whatever. But you have to be self-aware enough to understand I can't screw up trading my franchise player regardless of where my franchise player wants to go or not. I love De'Aaron Fox. I'm glad De'Aaron is in San Antonio. It was the absolute right choice for him. I'm glad he ended up there from a basketball standpoint because we're seeing the Spurs do what the Spurs are doing. I'm happy for him. The Kings were not obligated in any sort of way to send him there.
Yeah.
The reason why they did it is because, one, ownership wanted Zach LaVine. We've known that for a while. And two, there was this folly, short-sighted, we need to make the play-in by any means necessary approach that was dumb at the time, and it looks even worse now.
Yeah.
It is a decision that I am confident Scott Perry never, ever would have made.
Yeah.
And if he would have, then I would question if he's the right guy for the job. But I think Scott knows better. The best thing that could happen for the Sacramento Kings is you hire Scott Perry, he takes the job, and his number one job or his first task is to sit down with De'Aaron Fox, have a conversation with De'Aaron. If De'Aaron is still like, I'm out of here, I'm just not doing it, I'm not playing for another coach, I don't like this, I got surgery, send me. Then now it's on Scott Perry to see if the market is any different. Maybe it's not. I don't know, but you did not have to bow to the whim of De'Aaron in a way that completely handicapped your franchise to where now we're here.
I think there was a lot going on, and this is even DeMar DeRozan saying it was a you-know-what show here.
Whew.
I mean, that would probably be meant from the top down in that moment with all the stuff that was happening. And I think that there were so many probably miscommunications or not communicating directly with players and the front office and Vivek and, Monty at the time, that it was all kind of just like crisscrossing. And what I look at it as, it was almost like no one knew how to really take the reins and be like, this is what we're going to do. We're going to have to play a little hardball. We're not going to just give away Fox for free. Like, there seemed to be a lot of like 1 foot out the door in situations.
Yeah.
And you're right. If Scott Perry were here at that time, from what I know of Scott and how he negotiates, and I would even say this year, some of the things that he stand pat on with not trading Domantas Sabonis for just a bag of chips.
Yeah.
Like, those are things that make me really credit. I know he's not perfect, but credit Scott, and he is really a businessman, and he wouldn't have probably done something like that. And one thing you just have to hope for as an organization, as a fan in this organization moving forward, is that, again, the word is out that Scott Perry and ownership are on the exact same page. And to me, that means that ownership is kind of handing over a little bit more of the freedom for Perry to really make the decisions and not have to worry about the emotions of ownership. And believe me, it happens in every sport.
Yep.
It's a reason why the Titans were in a spot for so long. And finally, this last year, Amy Adams-Strunk pretty much said, our GM has full autonomy. He is going to make I'm stepping away from having any type of decisions or cooks in the kitchen making decisions for me to start going in the right direction. And I truly believe that is what is happening here, but we have to see it out too.
Two comments here on the comment section that I want to address. First one from Amadrock. He says, hindsight is 2020. Dude, you must not have been listening to me when it was going on. And that's totally fine. I don't expect everybody to be listening to what I have to say. But during that time, I was very consistent. This was not a hindsight take. In the moment, I was telling you, you cannot screw this up. You cannot do this. Wait till the summer. Be patient.
Yeah.
Don't go for the plan. It's stupid. It's dumb. Don't make a knee-jerk reaction. You don't have to do this. I've said that consistently. You can go back. It's all on the internet. You can find all of it. It's not a hindsight is 2020 take, and it's not just a, hey, look at me, look at me. A lot of people felt this way. A lot of people felt like this is a franchise-altering decision. This wasn't trading Tyrese Halliburton for Domantas Sabonis, and I understand that has pretty significant ramifications right now. But when you still had De'Aaron Fox here when you traded Tyrese. You traded Tyrese to go and get De'Aaron Fox a partner. That is very different from trading your cornerstone.
I agree.
Very different. So it's not a hindsight is 2020 thing. That's what they should have done in real time. That's what a smart organization would have done in real time, and that's not what the Sacramento Kings did, to the surprise of very few people. Another thing, Ron Ultra says, I call Monty McNair sabotage. No. Listen. Monty McNair was following orders. And another part of this entire conversation, which has less to do with Monty and, again, has more to do with ownership, is that if Monty McNair was not going to be your general manager going forward. And I think the writing was on the wall for a while, long before the play-in tournament, that I think the Kings should probably move another direction. I was very critical of Monte McNair's last season and a half in Sacramento.
Do you think he was kind of like, I'm over this? Like, I'm not saying he didn't care, but did you feel like because he wasn't making maybe the decisions that he felt like he should be making, that he was like, I'm not going to win?
I'm not convinced Monte McNair wanted to fire Mike Brown. I'm not convinced, and I think the fact that it took so long for us to even have a press conference after that, and the way that press conference went down was an exception, or is an example of that. I'm not convinced that Zach LaVine at all was Monte McNair's decision, when we know ownership has had interest in Zach LaVine since before Monte McNair was there, going all the way back to the sign and trade with the Chicago Bulls, or I'm sorry, when they offered Zach a contract as a restricted free agent with the Chicago Bulls, which the Bulls matched. That was long before Monte McNair was ever here. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, connect the dots a little bit.
Yeah. Also, four weeks after the trade, Wes Wilcox, who's the assistant GM, just left.
Yep. Guys started abandoning ship because they saw what was going down. Like, regardless of if you want to blame Monte McNair or not, if you're ownership, how the hell do you allow your general manager, if you know he's pretty much out the door, to make that franchise-altering decision? Mm-hmm. Why would you do that? Oh, maybe because it wasn't fully his decision, was it? Right? I would have I don't know if Scott Perry would have done any better. Maybe he does worse. I don't know. But it is 1,000 times better. It is it's just common sense. If I'm going to make a change, I should probably change the decision makers before I allow the decision maker to trade my franchise player that could have lasting effects on my organization. Let's get to Daniel. Daniel's been waiting patiently on hold, wants to jump into the conversation. Daniel, how are you?
Matt, hey. I got your back on this. I remember everything you said. I remember pretty much everybody in the market, what they said about what was going to go down. And I'll go a step out. You don't have to say it. I think without you saying it, I think everyone knew the Kings were going to screw it up. They knew they were going to screw it up because it's the Kings' way. And to the point of Fox, right? At the time when he did it, I wasn't happy that he forced his way off. I wasn't happy that he put the Kings in that spot. Looking back at it now, looking at what a mess this franchise is, he's 100% in the right. I'm so glad he left. I like to watch him on the Spurs because he's a completely different guy. I like to watch Davion because he's a completely different guy. I like to watch, I like to watch all the ex-Kings wherever they're at because they're different players when they leave the Kings, because the Kings are an absolute mess. And I'll take it a step further. The Kings will not change until players start making it known that I want off of this team. You're going to get me off of this team. And if I get drafted by you guys, I'm not going there because I don't want my career to die, because that's what happens to careers here in Sacramento.
Daniel, sorry. Sounded like we broke up with you there towards the end. Daniel, I appreciate the call. Something that Daniel said in there that is true, regardless of how much of a Fox fan I am or not. De'Aaron Fox definitely put this organization in a tough spot, and that's what a lot of fans can't forgive. Mm-hmm. It's like whether you were done dirty or not, you put pressure and used every bit of leverage you could against the Sacramento Kings, and that played a part into where the Kings are at right now and what they got for you. Also, Zach LaVine is a Rich Paul client. So there was very much I'll get my guy here that you want if you get my guy where we want him to go, by Rich Paul. The Kings got absolutely taken advantage of. They got absolutely taken advantage of. Rich Paul played the Kings like a freaking fiddle. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Fox ended up where he wanted to go. The Kings took on Zach LaVine and his money, which is one of the worst contracts in the NBA, regardless of what we feel about Zach the player. And I have always said, even with my frustrations with Zach LaVine the player, I have always said there's a difference between Zach the player and Zach the contract. And a lot of people can't talk about Zach the player without talking about Zach the contract. I'm able to separate the two. It's not Zach LaVine's fault that he got that contract from the Bulls, and it's sure as hell not Zach LaVine's fault that the Kings were dumb enough to trade for it.
Yeah. I guess the biggest question about all of this in this conversation is, has this changed?
I believe it is.
That is because I think there's still, and rightfully so, there should be people still questioning if this has changed. Is this going to be a different operating situation moving forward?
I would like to believe
with
so.
Scott Perry actually making the decisions. Because when it comes down to it, Scott Perry is the general manager of this team. And Scott Perry deserves a chance to at least show that he can be a good general manager of this team. And for him right now, he's in a hard spot because he's entering year one with a mess to clean up. And the mess on aisle 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 is not going to be cleaned up in 20 minutes.
Right.
Okay? So keep that in mind.
Right.
Because I get how fans are frustrated with what has happened at the top for a long, long, long time. But we are under the impression that has shifted and that Scott will have the ability to make the decisions that he needs to make as a businessman and as a general manager. But I get that fans are still like hesitant to fully be in on that until they actually see it for themselves.
I understand all the frustration that I've been seeing towards my content and my commentary with the amount of negativity to it. On one hand, what do you want me to be positive about with the way that the last year and a half, almost 2 years have gone? But on the other hand, truly, to your point, Kayla, truly, the wound has not healed.
No.
It won't heal for a while. But I do believe in Scott Perry. I've had conversations with Scott on the record, off the record. I believe in his vision. I remember after his press conference, the first time his introductory press conference, feeling really good about the hire. At the time, I was a little nervous about it. I felt really good about it afterwards. I do believe in Scott Perry. I have hope, faith for the future that I put in Scott Perry. Scott still has a lot of work to do, though, to even have a chance to live up to those expectations, right? I know the conversation is primarily negative. Y'all, it's a 18-51 season right now with De'Aaron Fox thriving and Mike Brown thriving. It's raw.
It's hard.
It's real. It doesn't go away over time.
Yeah.
And I understand if it's frustrating for people to listen to. I hear you, and I apologize about that. I genuinely do. It's not fun to be negative all the time. It really is not. I love this team. I love this franchise. I hate talking about this all the time. But my intention is to acknowledge what happened and make it so that it's so understandable and so loud that it does not ever happen again. It can't happen again. If the Kings are lucky enough to draft a new franchise star, whoever it is, and 7 years from now, that star is unhappy for whatever reason,
Right.
this can't happen again. Because if it does...
Not to that level.
Yeah. So, but I appreciate everybody's commentary.